Hey everyone in internet land, it's I, the amazing Fleck, and welcome to another one of my walk-in talks. If you're new to this channel, I'm currently on break during a 16-hour shift walking on a treadmill in the basement. I promised my viewers I'd post every day of the year, so here we are making the most of our time. So if you're curious about what sort of work I'm doing for 16 hours in a day, I'm doing caregiving work, or in-home aid work. I assist a lady with disabilities. This particular person gets around in a motorized wheelchair and cannot carry or lift more than a couple pounds at a time. Therefore, it's my job to help transfer her from one location to another, to help her cook her food, to clean up the dishes, keep the house straightened up, knock out some laundry, and a number of other tasks that if she could do on her own, she would, but since she can't, she has me around. One of the nicest things about this job and this particular person that I work for is that I've known this person for about 15 years now already, and I've been working for them off and on for the past 2 years. And last year I went full-time due to the fact that I lost a lot of my contracts, as some of you know and some of you may not know. Oh yeah, if you're new to the channel, I am a professional entertainer who is more or less out of the amount of work that I'm used to getting due to the pandemic. So I picked up some shifts doing some caregiving, in-home caregiving for a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, and this is where I'm at right now. And in speaking of jobs, I'm picking up another job tomorrow helping a friend lay some tile and do flooring work. It might be tile, it might just be some like wooden flooring work, and where I have to level things out, put some grout in. I've never done this stuff before, but I'm pretty excited about learning because I want to be a homeowner. And anything I can learn about being a homeowner and repairing the house and fixing it up is something that I want to know more about. And I wouldn't mind spending some time with another friend, make a couple bucks, and help them with their personal house projects. So that's going to happen tomorrow, and I'm not sure how long that'll be for. I'm going to try to get as many hours in as I can. But today, a 16-hour shift doing in-home caregiving. So what's a typical day like? Well, I'd like to answer that in detail, but at the same time, I'd rather not because there's privacy issues and it's someone's personal life we're dealing with here. So if you can imagine what you would like to do in the morning, typically you like to get out of bed. Well, a lot of us can get out of bed. Some of us can't get out of bed unassisted. So I assist my friend getting them out of bed to use the restroom. So I get them out of bed and assist them and help them go to the restroom. I shut the door and let them do their business. They don't need me in there, but they need help to get into the restroom and to get out of the restroom. Pretty much any time she needs to move from one chair to another, she needs assistance and she needs someone to help lift her and transfer her. And I think that's likely the biggest part of the job, next to doing all sorts of other tasks. Anything that requires lifting a couple pounds or more is something I have to do because the lady I take care for just can't do that. Her bones are too brittle and she can't lift those sorts of things. Now I always thought it's much easier to help take care of someone else's house or clean someone else's mess up or do things in someone else's house. When you're out of your element and you're not in the environment you're comfortable in and you see someone else's environment, you can spot messes a lot easier and things that need to be done much easier than you can do in your own home. Because you live in your own home, you can get accustomed to where things are and we get comfortable in our own environment, I guess. So the advantage of being in someone else's environment and seeing what needs to be clean is it's made me a much more clean person and a much more organized person. Not only because I want to sit there and try to keep things tidy and everything clean, but also because you learn about what standards other people have in keeping their house clean and orderly. And a result of learning that, it resulted in me raising my own game up and keeping my own house organized and everything orderly. Other benefits include I've learned how to cook a lot more food, delicious, nutritious, healthy food too, because my client needs to keep a special diet that their digestive system can handle and also happens to be incredibly nutritious even for people who don't have her condition. Other benefits of the job is I get to learn all sorts of new and exciting skills. For instance, I never knew how to use a curling iron, a flat iron, or a crimper, much less know the difference between the three. But now I know how to do it, even though I don't have any hair. But if you have hair and you have any one of those three instruments and you need the job done, I know how to do it. I also know how to dye hair with henna and also with bleach and with regular old hair dye. That's something else I know how to do now. So that's cool. I wouldn't say I'm good at cutting hair. I mean, I cut my own hair and you already saw what disaster that looked like. I won't show you again, but you get the idea. Never trust a bald barber, they say, right? So yeah, pretty much my job, more or less, is assisting my friend to do things that they would otherwise do all on their own, but they're just physically unable to do it, and assisting my friend to stay alive for the day, doing things that most of us take for granted, like being able to cook our own food, go to the bathroom when we need to go to the bathroom, go up and down stairs, boil hot water to make your tea, go across the room and pick up the remote control off the floor, open doors and close doors easily, getting in and out of a car, being able to drive at all, being able to lift things more than 2 pounds, not having to worry if you fell from 2 or 3 feet that you might break something that could kill you. And also, of course, being able to just go out in public without having the occasional person stare at you and wonder what your condition is, or even worse. Going out grocery shopping is a really good example too. I went out grocery shopping with my client, and I've heard stories from her about how people might treat her in public, and it is weirder than she told me too. Like, she was telling me how people come up to her and just want to hug her and say things like, "Oh, God bless you, you're so brave," for doing certain things that we all do, people just do in general. Or people just like will lift things off of a shelf above her head. If you see my client in person, you'll realize that you shouldn't do that. You should not do that, because anything that falls on my client could kill them. And how people will try to speed past her or cut her off in front of her really quick. Sometimes they think they're being polite and getting out of her way, and other times it's just plain rude. And then the weirdest one is when people want to come up to her and just give her a hug or pat her on the head, or just some sort of weird behavior, because sometimes people don't know how to interact with her or treat her or recognize her in any way. They resort to just behaving strange ways for some reason or another. And to actually see it happen in real life, I understand why she doesn't like to go out grocery shopping too often. Especially now, not with this pandemic going on. She doesn't want to go out and do that sort of thing. But she's got a good team of people who help take care of her, and she takes care of us. I've learned so many amazing things. I've learned how to cook so much delicious, nutritious, healthy food. I've learned how to use crimpers, how to dye hair with henna, how to use hair curlers and flat irons. Because hey, the lady wants her hair did, you know, you gotta help her out. And I've learned a thing or two about the concept of ableism. And looking back at how ableist I've been for most of my life, being someone who is blessed with abilities outside of what the everyday person has. Walking tight ropes, walking fire tight ropes, rolling balls of fire on my bare arms, contact juggling in general. I think I'm blessed with quite a bit of creativity too. I'm also blessed with being more physically able in other ways than most other people are. And I take that for granted, or at least I have for a long time, and I think I still do. But I've also learned the value of slowing down and doing things very carefully and meticulously to make sure they're done properly. Because when it comes down to it, certain tasks that I have to do for her throughout the day, if I mess up doing that task, it can result in a fatality, and that's not going to happen, not on my watch. But all the more reason to be extra careful, because if you're anything like me, when you do something for a long period of time, you can just become confident in your abilities to keep doing it in a certain way. And when you get to a certain point of overconfidence, that's when mistakes happen. When you take your abilities for granted and you think you just got something and you know what you're doing, and then you can just easily mess it up because you thought you had it in the bag. So that made me reevaluate how I approach things and how much intention and thought and care I put into doing certain things that are that important, that level important. Life or death, utmost care, utmost concern, utmost focus, very important. So yeah, my client is very independent as much as they possibly can be. And if I do my job well enough and I keep everything nice and tidy, I can get a decent amount of downtime throughout a day where I can work on my own projects or read a book or make a YouTube video like I am doing right now, or play on LMMS and make some beats. Every once in a while, if I just get 5 minutes, I could pop in there and find another drum beat, make a variant of a drum beat and shift it over and think about it for a while, let it mull over my head, think of another variation, 15, 20 minutes, an hour later, come back and type it in and create a song. It's a nice gig for a guy like me. And it's a really nice opportunity to pass time with friends and still feel like I'm doing something productive and moving forward in my life. So me and my employer, we both think that I'm very much underpaid, and there's nothing we can do about it right now because I've already hit the federal cap on what my position pays. But hopefully, if certain legislation goes through, that can be solved, and that'd be fantastic. But regardless of pay, I'm gonna keep doing this job until we can find more qualified caregivers for my client. We probably use them. Right now, she's just got 2 of us, and she might be getting sick of this ugly mug right here. And it's good to have some variety. I think she's used to having a number of other people on staff in case of emergency. So what if it comes down to it and one or both of us is ill? What is she gonna do? She needs to get out of bed in the morning. She needs to use the bathroom, like we all do. She needs to eat food. So we have to make sure these safety measures are in place. But it's difficult to find good help, and especially it's difficult to find good help during a pandemic. And even more so, it's difficult to find good help when someone's life is on the line and when they don't pay enough for the position. But once again, I'm not just doing this for a little measly paycheck. I'm doing it because she's my friend, first and foremost. I care about her very much. She cares about me very much. We take care of each other. And a couple extra bucks every couple of weeks helps me out very much in my given situation. But most importantly, I'd like to see her have more caregivers on staff so she has more of a sense of security and can handle any sort of problems that may happen. So I hope I said enough, and I hope I didn't say too much when it comes to the idea of caregiving and what I do at this job. Because as I said earlier, it's a very personal thing. You're in someone else's house and you're helping them out with their everyday tasks and even their personal tasks. So I don't think I said anything that breaches any sort of privacy or trust between us, but that's more or less what I do, and I'm proud of what I do, and I enjoy it. And I'm very lucky to be able to have this job because it works really well for who I am and my lifestyle and what I want to accomplish later in life. I still plan on obtaining a degree as an occupational therapist assistant, and this is a good stepping stone. There's some good overlaps between this work and that sort of work too. And that's what I'm doing here in a nutshell, folks. So yeah, thanks very much for watching this video all the way to the end. I appreciate it. It warms my heart knowing that people are out there that actually care about what I have to say and check in on me. So thanks very much, everyone. And I probably said too much, so I'll cut it off right about now, folks. Remember to keep safe, be well, stay humble, and peace.